Today, we're diving into an incredibly humorous mix-up, crazier than imagined. Annie faked her mother's handwriting for a leave note. Little did she know, her teacher had become a detective, tracking her every move and witnessing Chick whisking her away. So when Annie once again submitted that forged excuse note in class, the outcome was pretty much a given. Thanks to her mother's desperate pleas on her behalf, Annie just about managed to retain her enrollment status at school. However, the teacher laid down the law, failed the final, and is out. This ignited Mom's fury. She swore if Annie got expelled, she would disown her. Meanwhile, clueless Chick jumped over the wall into Annie's room that night. That's when he discovered the day's earth-shattering events, and instead of advising Annie to study, he used streetwise tactics, kidnapped her teacher's pet to blackmail her for extra marks on exams. Meanwhile, anxious Annie dove into her studies and mended her relationship with Mom. Ted, however, was surprisingly chill about the whole situation. She discreetly tested Chick's sincerity, and finding him serious, let their relationship blossom. Time flew, and soon it was the eve of the big exam. Taking advantage of an empty house, Annie invited Chick over to hang out. Just as they were about to get cozy, the living room erupted. A group of thugs burst in, tricking Anna's underage brother into drinking, as others boldly helped themselves to the liquor cabinet as though it belonged to them. A wild and full-on party indeed. In their circle, this was just another Tuesday. If someone had a girlfriend, it was time to celebrate with a raucous, but they forgot Annie didn't belong to this crew, and her temper flared up instantly. She kicked Chick out, and for 2 days, he couldn't reach Annie. To earn her forgiveness, he grafted heartfelt apologies at Anna's school, trying to win her back. 2 days later, calm Annie realized the incident wasn't Chick's fault and was ready to forgive him. But precisely when Chick had planned to cook up a heartfelt meal to demonstrate his sincerity, an unexpected twist of fate occurred once more. "Let go of me." The moment the call ended, Chick sped off on his motorcycle, a figure flashing through his mind. He raced crazily to the usual haunt of his gang, where that notorious thief was hiding in a corner. When confronted, the thief didn't give up the goods but instead got cocky, and in a split second, they were trading punches. Just then, a girl who had a crush on Chick jumped in to break it up, and it turned out this was all her scheming. Out of her infatuation with Chick, she stole the ring, hoping to drive a wedge between him and Annie. Upon seeing Chick's bruised hand and the blood on his face, Anna's anger melted away, and she tenderly bandaged him up. All these conflicts made Annie realize their vastly different backgrounds created an insurmountable gap. Perhaps sensing the worry in her eyes, Chick silently resolved to leave his violent past behind. When exam results were announced, Annie aced it and secured her place in school. Excitedly, she rushed to thank her teacher, but was stopped by the sight of the dog by Chick's side. Watching her teacher hide the dog behind her back, Anna's heart sank. When she confronted Chick, his panicked expression confirmed her worst fears. "Please, can we just take a break? Is that okay?" Since that incident, Chick hadn't spoken to Annie. That day, her parents threw a party to celebrate their daughters. They invited her classmates. Chick rushed over, caught up in the festive atmosphere. Seeing her show up, Annie intended to give her another shot, but of course things took another unexpected turn. A passing classmate accidentally spilled a drink on Annie. It wasn't a big deal, but that touch was a bit too friendly. Annie quickly realized that her opportunity to easily forgive Chick had been carelessly squandered away like that. And this all played out right under her mother's watchful eye. Her calm expression strikingly terrifying. Turns out, she orchestrated the whole mess, meant to provoke Chick. A classmate's phone rang. Chick's brother had an accident racing. Annie didn't care about arguing with Chick anymore. They both rushed to the accident scene. Chick pushed his way through the crowd, only to find his brother's body covered with a white sheet. He fell apart and rushed past the barriers. He held his brother's lifeless body in silence for an eternity and then, in a frenzy, attacked the motorcycle, hoping to drown his Annie couldn't bear seeing him destroy himself. She tried to stop him, but he couldn't. Anguish and rage surged within him like a tidal wave as Chick turned around and resolutely walked away from the scene. At that moment, Annie pondered silently to herself. If Chick hadn't pulled his brother into this chaotic world, their life path might have never taken such a tragic turn. This incident jolted Chick awake. His life hit rock bottom, and their love story came to a sudden halt. And just like that, it was all over. No sequels here. Only the sorrow of a lost lover, sending him spiraling. To avoid extreme acts, he struggled to distract himself, memories swelling like cold rain. His mind was tortured by pain, and although he finally calmed down, those haunting memories wouldn't leave him. From then on, they completely cut ties, and after this tumultuous relationship, Annie decided to follow her mother's. She tried dating the guy her mother approved of, the same one who spilled wine on her at the party. Czech hadn't forgotten about Annie, but realised that breaking in just to prove he hadn't changed was pretty reckless. This was a tragic collision of class and youth.